I want to ask you, I think it's very significant, and that's why I opened the program with that the operation is still on. We have men injured in the base hospital at this moment. I hope they get well, but we don't know. This operation is still on. This operation is ongoing. And these are deferred visuals. I'm emphasizing again and again, these are deferred visuals. General Singh, this is important. We haven't backed off from this operation.
Absolutely. Barkha, the Indian Army you can't take down the Indian Army. You will have moments when you are down. That very brief moment when the brave CEO got killed in action, along with his company commander and the very brave police officer, that was just a momentary thing when the Indian Army was down. It rose the very next minute when the men, without their commanding officer, without their officers there, must have responded to, first of all, try and retrieve the bodies of their officers. That itself is one of the most difficult things in these kind of operations. And thereafter, of course, the thing has moved upwards. Response has taken place. I'm told even the para-SF units have landed up there. Surveillance is going on that area to make sure that these people don't get away. Somehow, I'm led to believe that already 2 terrorists are somewhere in the dragnet. No one is going to give this up. This can carry on for 7 days, 10 days, 15 days. There's no problem at all. The Indian Army cannot lose a commanding officer and his men like this and not retaliate and respond against the people who have been responsible for it.
Yeah. I know, Brigadier Thapar, you had said on Twitter that you wondered why the senior officers were at the front. But in my experience, and all of you are veterans, I've always seen our men in uniform leading from the front. I'll come to you in just a moment on that, Brigadier Thapar. SP Ved, sir, to you first. This is a moment of great anguish. You have led this police force. I've often said that the Jammu and Kashmir police force is in some ways, because of everything they've had to deal with, the bravest police force in the country, just because of what they've had to deal with. And heartbreaking, the dignity of Ghulam Hassan Bhatt as he walks to the coffin in which his son's body is lying. He pauses there for only 1 second. 1 second. In fact, can I just play this image, please, if we can? 10 steps. Someone counted. There are 10 steps to the moment when he lays the wreath at his son's feet. And, it was heartbreaking. He doesn't show his emotion. He's a police officer himself. And he shows so much dignity that it just breaks your heart. Ved, sir, please go ahead, sir, with your thoughts.
Barkha, first of all, my tribute to the martyrs and heartfelt condolences to the families. As you mentioned about Ghulam Hassan Bhatt, in fact, seeing him laying wreath moved all of us, and we had worked with him for the last 30 years. Ghulam Hassan Bhatt was an outstanding police officer. He retired only a few years back as a DIG. He has been our colleague for roughly 3 decades, and losing a young son, so handsome, and at such a young age, he has a baby of only a month old. It has moved not only me, all my colleagues, and I think the whole country. Similarly, Colonel Manpreet, look at the Major Ashish. It was so heartbreaking. But see, let me mention here, we all felt bad about losing officers. See, producing officers like Colonel Manpreet, Major Ashish, and Hamayo, it takes years to groom such officers, and it's a big setback. And Indian Army, in its best tradition, has been leading from the front. Look at Kargil. So many young officers laid down their life. They knew that death is 100%. So Indian Army is not like Pakistan. You have whiskey drinking generals and only their jawans go. It's not like that. That high tradition of Indian Army continues. And J&K police, let me mention here, we have lost more than 1,700 people, which is a huge number. And injuries to thousands of our officers and jawans, out of which 7 Director General rank officers have been injured. Tell me one police force in the country which has 7 DGPs injured, and the contribution of J&K police, I think this country must remember. And as far as yesterday's operation is concerned, see, Army and JNK police are perfect coordination and so much of camaraderie. In fact, it's an example for rest of the country. But
Absolutely.
see, what yesterday happened. I personally, out of my experience, apprehend two, three things. Number
Hmm.
one, sometimes the sources are compromised.
Hmm.
Sources have, you know, uh, they, they are sent with a deliberate purpose to drag in uh, the leadership of security forces, so that initially terrorists are able, they know that they will die. Terrorists, they know, but they know they, before death, they wanted a huge damage to the security forces. So such sources uh, at times are compromised. That aspect needs to be taken care of by officers, commanders on the ground. Another thing which I apprehend is, whenever such operation is launched, somebody who's compromised, or some other overground worker leaks the movement of troops, that also can lead to such casualties, because
I'm
before the
sorry,
cordon was laid, or before, I
I'm so sorry,
on
sir.
the
I'm
ground,
interrupting you, but
that
yeah,
Colonel Manpreet got in the first breath itself.
yeah. I wanted to ask you, sir. You believe that there has been some sort of intelligence compromise, either the source or a leak. I just wanted to underline what you're saying.
See, these are my personal experiences of 35 years. I am only saying this aspect needs to be seen by the local commanders. They would know it better, those who are
Sure.
investigating it. But the other possibilities, some the information about the movement and the route to be taken by these troops was leaked, and somebody laid
Let
well planned ambush to take on the leadership. And I
let
think,
me
uh, yeah,
let me take this point because it's a very important point. SP were there arguing that either a source was compromised or information, classified information, may have been leaked. And I want to take that to Brigadier Thapar. Also to Brigadier Thapar, you've heard both General Hasnain and SP Ved. Your tweets, wondered why you need to have senior officers at the front. I would still want to understand from you, isn't that something that has always been the tradition of our army, of our police force? Brigadier Thapar.
So, firstly, what Mr. said about intelligently, quite possible. I'm sure details will emerge if this has happened. They will come out sooner or later, and we should be able to catch whoever is the culprit there in this regard. Now, coming to my point, I agree with what General Ata Hasnain has said. What you've said, leading from the front, that's been the tradition of the Indian Army. But see, there is a recent trend of past couple of years because these CEOs are younger. At this age, I was still a senior company commander, and today these guys are CEOs. That's the system has changed. They are young, they are impetuous, uh, they are full of josh. I would say, lack a little maturity in certain regards, which comes with age and experience. And plus, there are very limited opportunities in the valley today. So, any operation, he wants to prove himself, prove his worth, prove his battalion, prove his everything. Now, the CO has 18 to 20 officers. In our time, there were two, three small operations going on simultaneously in the area, and the CO was there, very much present in the area, but he was conducting operations, coordinating everything, and they required, if there was something, someplace he felt that something was not going as per his requirement, he moved there to influence operations. But today I see the CEO invariably moving right in front with the company commander.